I'm just gonna make a quick follow-up video because I forgot to mention like the most important part when I was doing these interviews. Obviously, you find out that they don't need wedding rings, but you do find out what they do need. So when I was doing this interview, they kind of said they were polite, so they're like, "Yeah, wedding ring." I mean, when you do these interviews, you don't want to pitch your product like, "Hey, would you buy this wedding ring? Like, this is gonna make sure you don't get electrocuted." People want to be nice, so they're gonna tell you, "Yeah, I'd buy it today." No, not today. No, thank you. But maybe one day. When in reality, they just don't want to. But that's why you want to figure out their most basic needs, like their root desire, like that's really driving them, and figure out if you can find a solution to that problem. Because you want to create a product where they just throw money at you and they're like, "Yeah, that's a huge problem. Just take my money, solve it for me." There's a few different products. There's like the products where people think something's really cool and they really want it. They're like, let's say it's a rich guy that loves Ferraris, and then a new Ferrari comes out, the Testarossa or whatever. I don't know that too much about Ferraris, but let's say it's the 80s and the Testarossa came out, and the rich guy's like, "Man, there's only three in the world. I don't care. Like, here's an extra $1 million. I want that Testarossa." Like, they're just throwing money at you because you have something that they want, or it's something that people really need. Like, I mean, someone's sick and you're a doctor and you're the only doctor that can do it. You'd want to do it for a good price, but maybe you have to charge a lot because you have a lot of demand. So your going rate is, $100,000 for a surgery, and people are going to pay it because they really need it. It's like, I can get the surgery or I can have a lower quality of life or die. So I'm going to pay you the $100,000. Or, your house is flooded. Hey, it's going to cost you $5,000 for me to make it stop flooding. It's a lot, it's my expertise, whatever. So you're going to figure this kind of stuff out doing these interviews. For me, what I figured out, which was a really good product, I think a couple people told me about it. And when I took that idea, and at the end of the interview, I'd just say, because at the end of the interview, I would say, "Hey, I have a silicone wedding ring. Like, would you ever be interested? Blah, blah, blah." Of course, like, they weren't, but I just mentioned it. But at the end, I would mention the product that the electricians would tell me that they really needed. And that was the one I mentioned in the previous video briefly, which is, I believe it was like when they were running electrical conduit through, or electrical wire through a conduit, through a pipe, something like that. They would have to like manually pull it through somehow. And it was really just a pain in the ass. It was really labor intensive, and it just took a long time. And they said, there's probably a way to do this with a machine, like a machine that just spools, or it helps you spool it somehow. And one of the electricians, he basically described the whole idea to me, and he's like, "Yeah, like if you made one of these, I mean, you could sell it for $100 or $200, and every electrician would buy one. Like, it's a no-brainer because it cuts down your job from like a couple hours to, or like a day to an hour or 15 minutes or whatever it would be." And it was a really good idea. Obviously, it was a totally different product. I would have had to go back to the drawing board to step one. I was almost ready to launch the silicone wedding ring product, so I went through with it. But if I would have done this in the beginning, in that 6-month, 1 year period, if I did it, in month one, I would have, had a home run product, and I just would have had to figure out how it works. And then instead of, doing customer interviews to an indifferent audience, or an audience that's just making fun of your product, you would have an audience that saying, "Whoa, yeah, when can I get one of these? Holy crap, take my money," that kind of stuff. And that's a lot better situation to be in. So that's what happened to me in my real life customer interviews. Once again, if you guys want to see like the real copy with my handwriting and all that, just leave a comment below and I'll dig around for it. It's somewhere around here. That was my experience. People were just indifferent. No, wedding rings, no, it's not a big of an issue. Like, no one really cares. It's just not an issue. and hence why the product didn't sell that well. They sold a decent amount. Um, if I got into the first page of Google, I probably would have done a lot better. Maybe change my marketing a little bit to make it more like towards everyone and not just towards tradespeople. But yeah, that's this is the hard work. This is like the elbow grease that no one wants to do, because like it's really fun to ideate a product and dream about it and create everything for it. Sit down and drink your caffeine and use your creativity. Yeah, it's fun. I love that part. But at the end of the day, if no one buys it, it is a hobby. I hated when people would say that to me. It's a hobby. You're not making any money off it. It's a hobby. And when I look back on it, yeah, I mean, it was something for me to do. I wasn't making money off of it. It was educational. I learned a ton. And this is me trying to impart the lessons learned and the tens and hundreds of $1,000s invested, with, unfortunately, with some return. Definitely a return in learning and education, but, I didn't create like a multi-million-dollar business or, become a millionaire like I wanted to. So look up this, go to Customer Dev Labs, look up that video I mentioned before, Customer Discovery, Justin Wilcox, Techstars, and start using this. Start talking to your customers, figure out who's your customer, like who's ideally wants to buy your product, and just start talking to them. Or what's even better, and what I was thinking about doing the next time I want to sell something, is figure out who you want your ideal customer to be. Don't think about what you want your product to be. Figure out who your ideal customer is going to be. Like, do it the opposite way. So figure out who your customer is going to be. All right, now I'm just making stuff up on the fly, but this is the way I was thinking about it back in the day. A couple years ago when I was going through this, I should have done that first. Customer discovery, obviously. Or figure out about who you want to be your customer to be. Like, the rich people that hang out at the coffee shop in San Diego, in La Jolla. Like, really rich dudes that have a ton of money, or rich moms that have a ton of money and a ton of free time, and they don't care about spending it because they're more, maybe they have some pain points that you can solve and figure out what their pain points are. Maybe those people are cool to work with. Maybe you're really into, pickleball. Let's say I have friends that are really into pickleball, and you want to be around those people. Figure out what those people's pain points are. Oh, my wrists hurt a lot because these pickleball paddles are too heavy. Okay, I'll make a pickleball paddle that's lighter. Let's say you live in the desert and everyone around you, the group that you like hang out with are goths, like goth kids, because you're in high school and you want to start a business. Like, you talk to goths and they're like, man, what's their biggest pain point? And it's, they can't get, all right, I'm just thinking of like dumb stuff right now. I was just going to say, like, they can't get good weed. So you can start growing weed. But now let's think of a better example. I don't know. They can't get good jewelry, or the jewelry they use is toxic. It's like it rusts and then it gives them rashes. So you could create, a little storefront in that desert town with high-end quality jewelry. And you like working with goths because you're a goth and you're in high school, or you just graduated. So, it's perfect for you. Or you want to work with people who have a lot of money. So you find out who has money and who's easy to work with. And then interview them. You do this interview, you just ask them what their, biggest problem is. Or you kind of steer the conversation towards, the problem. What does success look like for you? Oh, I'm a goth and I look cool. I look cooler than all the other goths. What's the hardest part about achieving that success? I get rashes from my jewelry, so I can't wear it, from my nose ring. When's the last time you tried to solve that problem? Yesterday. I was searching for jewelry online. And then why is that a problem for you? Oh, because I don't know, because I'm a goth and I'm depressed because I can't go to college. Okay, well, actually, the real problem is that they can't go to college. So you figure out, you create an ebook, how to get into college if you live in, I don't know, in the desert, like how to get into college if you're in high school and you don't know anything about college because you live somewhere where no one went to college and no one cares. For example, I'm just making stuff up. But anyways, that's how you use this tool. This is from learning about business. To me, it's crazy. Always the coolest stuff is always the stuff that no one talks about. It's the hidden secrets. I know I say like a lot. Sorry about that. This is the coolest thing that I learned in when trying to start a business. Probably the most useful thing. And to me, it's crazy because no one I don't think I've ever met anyone that actually used a script like this and called people around. So if you're really serious about this stuff and you really want to create a product that people are going to love or that they really need, you want to create a product that fills a certain niche or market segment, then do this. Put in the hard work. Put in the hard work in the beginning and reap the rewards at the end. Give yourself a head start. Give yourself a good start. So you do this really boring stuff at the beginning, and everything after that is just going to be boom, 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 success. It's just going to be positive reinforcement from your customers saying, yes, whoa, this is cool. When are you going to create this? Put me on the email list. Keep me in touch. You could keep in touch with them every time you go to the next step. You can keep them in the loop. All in the while, they're telling their friends, and more people are getting into the email list. And you're getting more and more momentum, and it's fun, and people are excited. And you're not spending any money because you're doing it smart. You're making sure you have your customers all lined up before you launch the product, which is what you want to do. That's the whole point. And then you launch it on Kickstarter. You send out an email to your 1,000 or 10,000 subscribers. You get funded in the first 10 minutes. You meet your goal of $10,000, $1,000, $100,000, whatever it may be. And then you just start sending it out and making money. It's a much better situation. So please leave a message, subscribe. If you have any questions, please do leave a message. I think this stuff is super interesting. I'd be glad to help you out with it. If you'd like to schedule a call, reach out. If you want me to do this work for you, I'll do it for you. I like talking to people. I like discovering new stuff. And I'll tell you if your product is a good idea or how to make it better or what product you should use for your target market. All right, guys. Thanks a lot and have a good day.